All right, my name is Giuliano, and I'm the founder of Skycloak, and I'll be guiding you through the platform and showing you how it works, what you can do with it, and let you authenticate your users. All right. So first thing we're gonna do is log in to the platform. So either you already have an account or you're doing the free trial. Regardless, you always end up on this page. In this particular case, I'll connect with my GitHub account, and boom, that's where I land. And my on my homepage where it shows a checklist. So for this particular video, what we'll do is we'll take a look at the checklist, why it's there, what it helps you achieve. Then on the second part, we'll take a look at the clusters. What is a cluster? How can we create one? How do we manage them? On the third part, we'll take a look at the clusters features. So everything underneath the clusters section of the sidebar here. And then lastly, we'll take a look at the realm features. So what is a realm and what are they here to achieve. And in the meantime, we'll also take a look at the settings, what we can do and how we can manage our workspace. Because right now, when you create an account or when you're invited, you're always within the boundaries of a workspace. Okay, so you're just working as a team, so you can invite team members and you can do other things. So workspace it is. Okay, the first thing is the homepage dashboard. All right, so whenever you land on your workspace, the first thing you'll see is this dashboard telling you, okay, what we suggest you doing. The first thing you'll see is verify your email. So we need you to verify your email because we are dealing with infrastructure. So a lot of resources that we have to provision on our end is expensive. So we can't just let anyone jump in, create clusters, and do whatever they want. So you have to verify your email, and then we tell you, okay, if you want to use the authentication features of Keycloak, you need to create your cluster. Then you need to create a realm, and then you can create your first application. And then as you keep going along, you can do more and more sophisticated things like setting up your branding, your email, inviting your team members, adding a custom domain, all the type of things that you would be able to do in and most of identity and access management platform out there. Okay, so it's the same thing as any of identity access platform, but here the idea is we are leveraging Keycloak, and you heard me say Keycloak clusters. So we'll see on the next step what it's all about. So this was the home page. That's where you land. You see how many people are on your team and your workspace, how many clusters are running, and how many location do you have access to. All right, so that's the gist of it. And on the left side, what you see is the sidebar. So the sidebar has all the features you would typically need. You see here grouped by clusters features or everything related to clusters. You can even click here and select your clusters that you're working with. And once you select a cluster, you'll see that you also have access to the realms. You click on realms here, you can select your realm and do the work that you need to do. Okay, so that's the gist of it. And if you need more information, you need some support, you have all the supporting options here. You can go to documentation here if you need to open a ticket and talk to someone about an issue you're having. You can go to support here, and here you'll have access to your notifications. If something's happening, you get them right there. And this is for the theme, light, dark system, the classical stuff. All right, so clusters management now. So we jump into the clusters. So let's say we created a new account or you were invited. Let's say you already verified your email, whatever. Now the next step is making sure that you have a cluster, because if you want to use Keycloak's features, you need to have a Keycloak instance running. Okay, and so far, if you don't know what Keycloak is, it's to me it's one of the best open source identity and access management tool out there. It's close to, at the time of recording this, it's about 30,000 GitHub stars on GitHub. So 30,000 GitHub stars. It's very popular, huge community. It's used in different type of scenarios for public institutions, for commercial needs. Whatever you need, it's available because it supports most of identity protocols, and it does it pretty well. Okay, and it has a very huge community support. So in order for you to allow your users to log in into your application or your platform, or even doing typical SSO within your company, you would need a tool that provides the protocols for you to do those. And Keycloak is one of them, and it's open source. The idea behind Skycloak is that we take this tool and we make it easy to deploy and easy to access, of course, and easy to use. So that's the idea. And when you come to the clusters page, that's where you have to start, because you need to have a Keycloak cluster to begin with. And we say cluster because in our case we leverage the cloud to make sure that it can scale. So when we say cluster, it could be in one site, or it could be in multiple sites. Hence cluster, because we can replicate how many Keycloak instances are running, sharing information between each other as cache to make sure that things are resilient and highly available. So with that said, once you land on the clusters page, what you'll see is you can migrate from Keycloak, or you can create a cluster. So the migration feature, let's say you already have Keycloak running in your company or locally, you can take a backup and you can use it to migrate into Skycloak. So you would select your location, put the data, and then next just keep going through the features, and then you would be able to migrate into Skycloak. So we support encrypted data, a link towards your data as well to make sure things are secured. So you could give a 10 minutes link that is accessible, and then you delete everything else. So that's one way to do it. You can, of course, migrate into Skycloak. The other way is you create your own cluster. So whenever you click on create new clusters, you get ask a name. You have to put a name for your cluster. You can select a version. We have all the major versions, 20 and up. So if you're in a old version, for example 20, and you want to migrate up, you can start there, migrate in, and then do a slow upgrade. Another thing we mentioned here is the cluster size. So this is very important. It defines how available is your Keycloak instance. So small dev, there's no SLA. So when we do cleanups or we're doing maintenance on our servers, usually we restart, we push things around. There's a lot of things happening. So if you're using a small, maybe you'll get a downtime like once in a while, like once a day or once every 2 days, once a week. Sometimes it's calm, nothing happens, but you have to be careful. There's no SLA on the small, so be careful. Medium, now we're talking about more availability. So it's typically at least 2 sites. I say at least, maximum 2 sites actually. So it's always 2 sites. And sites is data center, or if you're using AWS, it's availability zone. If you're using Google Cloud, I think it's a zone. It's the same information. Okay, so basically you have 2 instances of Keycloak running, one, and there are in separate data center. Okay, and finally the large is 3 sites, so that means 3 data centers. We want to make sure that we have access to 4 NIMEs with the database, of course, running behind it, and 3 data centers as well. So that's the options, and as you can see, we even tag them, right? Dev is like, if you're using a small cluster, consider it as more like a dev environment. A medium will be like a staging environment, and your large will be like a prod environment. So that's a way for you to conceptualize how you would use them. Okay, and of course, to have access to the large, you need a specific plan. Contact us if you need that. Then the location. So basically, everyone has access to US East Coast. The others, you would need to contact us for us to understand why you need these specific regions, and then we'll enable them for you. Okay, and then you have access to management mode. Basically what it means is how do you want us to manage your cluster. Full management, that means we give you access to realm features. So we create a service account inside Keycloak that acts on your behalf. So whenever you're doing an operation or an action that needs certain permissions or rights, so the service account will be doing it on your behalf. It's like having an admin user that is acting on your behalf, basically. So when you're doing, for example, user management, application management, you're updating your branding, email. So this type of management mode will help you achieve this. But if you go to semi mode, that means you will not have access to realm features. There will be no service account created. You just have access to basic infrastructure features, the basic cluster features, and that's it. Okay. And then the last thing is the features that you can enable in Keycloak. So here we give you access to, okay, do you want to enable fine grade admin permissions? You want to go somewhere and enable some preview features. You all have access to that. So that allows your Keycloak to get more certain features that are not yet ready available. So not only if you want something basic that works in most cases, whenever you create a Keycloak instance, everything will work out from the get-go. But if you need something very specific, sometimes it's available as a feature in Keycloak, and will allow you to enable those from here. Okay. And here we tell you, yeah, it may take 1 minute to 5 minutes, but yeah, it doesn't take too long. All right. So that's how you create a cluster. Once it's created, you can always come, click on it, and do some updates. You can change the name. You can only do upgrades. You cannot do downgrades. We don't allow downgrades because it usually, because of database updates, you won't be able to make it work. So only updates. Location, you cannot change it. You only see what location you're right now. You can change the size anytime. If you have access to them, you can change them. And you can also change the management mode. You can also add new features into your clusters. Okay, so that's how you do an update. The next thing, let's say you want to access now. Now that you created your cluster, you can access it, right? So you can basically click on the three dots here, action. That gives you access to a lot of different actions. You can delete your cluster. You can export your data. So if you need your data to be exported and you want to go self-hosted, no worries. You can always click export, select the format, and then export your data. No worries. We don't try to keep your data hostage. So it's all flexible here. Another thing is, if you want to access the admin console, just click here and boom, you have access to the Keycloak cluster. All right, so now it's loading. This one is from Australia. There you go. Boom, it's loading. If you want access to credentials, you just click view credentials here. It loads. You can copy. You click on open my dashboard. It loads up. In this case, it's long because I'm in Canada and this is in Australia. So I'm just putting this here. Sign in. There you go. So now I am on my admin dashboard for Keycloak, and I can start managing it, do specific stuff, whatever I like. It's up to you. For those that already are at Keycloak admins that understand how it works, there you go. You have your Keycloak admin console. If you don't know too much about Keycloak, the features that we make available under the realm features is enough to move forward, and we'll take a look at them right after. But for now, this is how you access your Keycloak cluster. You just click on view credentials, you copy your username and password, and you can access them. All right. If you don't want your admin console to be accessible or available on the internet, we have a plan for that to allow to whitelist or blacklist certain path, so we could block it and prevent people from accessing it. Okay, so that's all there is to it to cluster management. Okay, so just a recap: Keycloak is an identity and access management tool, open source, 30,000 GitHub stars, amazing tool, great community, very popular. It supports major use cases, whatever you need to do with identity. You can have a login team. You can have you can brand your login, your sign up page. You can do custom actions to do stuff when people log in. You can send emails for you when a user logs in or needs to update his password. It manages, it supports the major authentication protocols, OAuth, SAML, and the others. So it's a great tool. So what we make here is make sure that we remove the pain of you having to install it yourself, and we do it just for you. So now that we know what a cluster is, how to create one, how to edit one, let's go through the features and get this demo done with. All right, so we created our clusters. Next thing, the events. So here what we have, basically in Keycloak, events are generated, and we want to make sure that we track them and we give you access to them so you know what's happening. In the future, in this demo, I'm not showing some features that are in beta mode, but there are features that are linked to events. For example, sending you a webhook whenever a particular event occurs. You can just subscribe to them and we'll send you the information, because this is a high demanded feature. At this time of recording, we don't have it, but this will be here pretty soon. So here you have all the Keycloak events. You can see them live. You can export them. You can update the time range and see what's happening with your cluster. Okay. With your cluster, you can also see the logs. So something's weird, something's failing, you don't know what's happening, you just come to logs and you'll be able to track and troubleshoot what's happening. You don't always need to open a support ticket. Just come to the logs and see what's the exact issue, and that's it. If you know how to resolve it, great. If you can't, of course, yeah, you open a support ticket, but usually everything you need is already here. Okay. The next thing on the clusters features is the insights page. So under the insights, you'll get information that are pretty useful for most, let's say, identity management owners. So you can take a look here to see, okay, how many monthly active users I have, how many weekly active users in the past 7 days, how many daily active users in the past 24 hours. So these are usually metrics that we are requested a lot. So we just bring this information here for you. We don't hide them from you because we do not bill you anyway per active user. So why not having them here for your own enjoyment, right? The next thing is authentication activity. So we tell you how many users have logged in the past time frame that you selected, how many were successful, how many failed, yeah, and from that, how many were unique users. Okay. Of course, we show the success rate. There's a graph here for you. We also tell you how many realms these logins came from, which protocol was used the most, in this case OIDC, for registration as well. Here, of course, these all my clusters are demo clusters with absolutely nothing happening. But you can guess that, yeah, when you have registration, you'll have the information here as well. And you'll also be able to see the service performance. Now we're seeing nothing. Let me select something else. Give me a second. All right, I switched to the Australian cluster. And if you can take a look here, you see that if I scroll down, yeah, we have some usage here. We have CPU usage, memory usage, the response time. So clearly nothing is happening on this cluster. So that's why you don't see much activity. So same here, probably the latency is just me clicking and doing something, but otherwise nothing is happening. And the little MS that you're seeing, most probably it's the the health checks, because nothing is really happening in this cluster. Okay. Machine to machine, so everything related to system authentication, we have this information as well. So all this is in the insights page. You can take a look at last hour, last days, even customize the range to see more information. Okay, so that's for the insights page. The next page we have under the cluster features is the extensions. So under the extensions, we give you access to a lot of free extensions that are available out there that are very popular. So that's what we do. We make sure that the licensing makes sense so you can use them without any trouble. And also, if you have custom extensions, you can always come here and upload them. We do a scan. We make sure that you're not uploading poison into the system. So you can upload your own custom extension, install them, and use them directly in your cluster. So usually when you install a cluster, an extension, it will require the cluster to be rebuilt, because we make sure that the clusters are, let's say, optimized in a certain way. So this installation will trigger that optimization cycle. So it may take between 2 to 5 minutes to install it, and then you're good to go to use it. So you see here you can use the Apple identity provider. You can add some the phone provider for authentication. You have a few already available here. Okay. And then under the cluster features, we also have the themes. So themes is more like a theme library. You can upload theme. You select your zip file and just upload them, and you can also apply them right away to a realm. In the future, you'll also be able to select clients that you would want to apply them to. Clients are a representation of your application. So if you want an application to use a specific branding, you can map a theme to that application, so it has a specific branding when a user goes to log in or sign up. All right. So yeah, I mentioned theme as if you knew what a theme is, but in Keycloak, the concept of theme is, see it as branding. And most identity and access management platforms, they'll call this branding. So you could adjust your login page, your sign up page, your SSO, all this stuff. It's basically branding. And in Keycloak, it's called a theme. And it's very customizable. And you can bundle that into a zip in Skycloak, upload it, and make it available to a specific realm. Okay. So far, we've talked about clusters, realms, some features, and now can jump into the domain. So for domains, basically you can map a domain to a cluster. Okay, so that means when you want to access the Australian cluster here, you see when I click here, it will bring me to not a custom, but a generated identity, a generated UID domain for your Keycloak cluster. But if you have a custom domain you want to use to access the cluster, you can do that. You could just do add domain, you add your domain, and then we'll do the verification. You just have to set up the CNAME, and we do the SSL validation on the back end for you. Okay. So it's very simple. You just put the name here, you do add domain, you make sure that you put it on your side, you set the CNAME to the right value that we indicate, and that's it. Okay. Another thing that is interesting in Skycloak is once you set up the domain, you have the option to map it to a realm. That means that domain will only work to a particular realm. So let's say you have 50 realms, you can now create 50 domains and you map them each to a specific realm. And all this on the same Keycloak instance. So that means you could have, if you are doing multi-tenancy per realm, you could have a different domain for each of your customers. This is a very important concept because it allows you to manage the entry point of your cluster on a very granular level. Okay, and once you do the mapping between your domain and the realm, you also have access. You can also enable or disable the admin the admin endpoints for that particular realm. Okay, so this is available to you, just for the fun of it. Yes. And of course, if you have a lot of domains and it's part of your plan, and you can also use, you can also import a CSV to put all the domains that you have, and we'll do the mapping and send you the CNAME validation you need to do for each of them. Okay, so that's for the domain. So this is what I talked about so far. All the cluster features you would have access under this section of the sidebar. So the events, to see all the events and your Keycloak cluster. The logs, you could see the exact logs of what's happening. If there's an issue, an exception, an error, you could see it here. Insights to see how many users you have in your cluster, monthly actives, weekly active, or daily active. Extensions to install additional features into your Keycloak cluster brought by the community, or you can install your own. Just upload your jar. The theme library, just uploading and managing your themes. This is of course available to enterprise customers, but for other users you'll be able to access the branding page without any issue. The domain here is to map your cluster to a specific custom domain so that you can get access to it without using the Skycloak generated domain ID. Okay, so now we talked about cluster features. Let's jump into the realm features. So under the realm section, you have the ability to select your realm. So this is accessible again only if you use the full management mode of the cluster. So just a recap, if you come back to cluster and you come to this section and you put it in semi mode, you will not have access to this section. But if you keep it in full management mode, you'll be able to select your realm or even create one and select it and then do some realm specific actions. Before I go further, what is a realm? Maybe you're not familiar with Keycloak and you don't know what a realm is. So a realm is, you can define it as, there's so many different ways to define it, but you could see it as another IDP basically. Some people decide to do multi-tenancy with Keycloak by giving one customer a realm, so that it's as if the identity provider isolated on that realm is able to serve the particular customers, or one customer served by that realm can manage the login of all its users. Okay, so a realm is basically a groupment of configuration for it's a regroupment of configuration isolated together that will not cross, let's say, cross-contaminate the other realms. Unless you're in the admin realm, which can see all the other realms and do things to all the other realms. Each realm is isolated, okay? You could see this, another system, you could see that as a tenant, right? It's a way to isolate your IDP. Okay, so here I have my realm, I create my product. Of course, I said product for this, I call it my product for this realm. It's up to me. It could be something else, right? It could be a department, could be representation of your customer. It doesn't matter. It's up to you to define this level of granularity. Okay, so here I have my product. I can create my users. I can manage them from here. I can create applications. So what's an application? And Keycloak, the concept is clients. Here we say application because it's very tied to an application that you're doing, either a front-end, React's, Angular application, or it could be a back-end, Golang, Node.js application, and you need to bring authentication on top of it, either for system-to-system communication, or you want to put a login page that forces users to authenticate before accessing to specific resources. So in that way, you would need to create an application. And here, when you come and create application, we give you access to enterprise apps, web applications, mobile applications, single page application. You do next, we will basically allow you to select an application, and on selecting one, you can even see a guide on how to install it. and the same guide will help you afterwards when you create it. So if you do continue, we'll even say, okay, what's the app name? App. You could do continue. It will tell you, okay, because you selected this particular technology, usually in development mode, you would put this as your callback. So these are to take with a grain of salt. Of course, in your application, maybe it's different. So make sure it matches your own need. Do not just put them here and say, okay, this is this is my thing. So I'm just going to put this here just to test. Then I create the application. Boom, it will bring you to a quick start so you know how to configure your application. Okay. So that's one way. So here I created a React application. I can tie it to my React application so it can bring login page for me. Okay, I'll do videos on about this in a more detailed capacity. Right now I'm just showing the overview of the platform. So yeah, you can manage your applications here. For the branding, here what we allow you to do is you could set up the branding for your realm, just to say how you want your user, what experience you want your user to have when they're logging in or when they're registering. So here you see the login page, the registering page, password reset, OTP login, update password. And on the right side here, you can set up everything. You could put your logo URL here. You could put what's inside the page, the login titles, the registration title. If I come here, I could put whatever I want. You see it updates here. Sign up now. Yeah, go sign up now. So you could put the colors, you adjust the background, the button, you can select the login options. You can even set up the SSO here. So in order to put the SSO, you need to make sure you enable them. For example, you want Google, so you have to make sure you go to SSO, set up Google, and then you'll have access to put it here. Okay. There's another video just for that. Go check it out. Footer, you could, of course, remove the powered by Skycloak if you can. You can also upload your custom theme. Remember that I was saying in the theme section, you can upload your own theme. Here you could do it as well. Okay, depending on the plan you're using, you could do that. And of course, once you're done, you just apply, and it's very fast. Doesn't take a lot of time. As I'm saying this, I see it took some time. Basically, I'm in Canada right now, and I'm updating an European cluster. That's why it took a few seconds. So if you click here, then you can see the updates. Okay, it's it's live. If I make a change again, let's say I don't like this color, I put it darker, and I put this button lighter like this. I say, okay, this will be my sign off page, and I don't want to let people register. Password reset, I don't want it. I want people to remember anything. And can you please remove the powered by Skycloak? Keep the legal information. Apply. Right, we'll wait. Boom, it's ready. So I click view live, and it's live. Okay, so it's very fast. It's you don't need to worry about anything, especially for those that know Keycloak. You don't need to break your heads. Just come to the branding page and apply, and that's it. All right, coming back to the realm features, that was for the branding page. So the next thing is the email branding. For the email branding, we separated into two. You can set up the SMTP configuration here. We know we received so many support requests that we created a guide. You could just click here, and based on the SMTP provider that you have, we tell you how to set it up. So there's one for Gmail, Azure, SendGrid, SES, you name it. Most of them are here. If something is missing and you'd like for us to put it there, just reach out to us and we'll do something about it. Okay, so you set up your SMTP configuration here, and you could do a test to see if it's working, and then you save. Actually, you save and then you can test. All right, the next thing is the email templates. So this allows you to configure the emails that Keycloak sends by making it, the way you like it. It's the white label option. So you can select the color. You could put your logo again, your company name, the footer, and that's it. And then you can save. All right. So that's good. The next thing here is the SSO page under the realm features. So under the SSO page is pretty straightforward. So it's a way to configure your IDP. You could just do add provider and you'll be able to have one of the providers set up. At the time of recording this video, there is Google available, there's Microsoft, GitHub, Okta, some custom as well. But don't worry, this is only the Skycloak skin, let's say. If you want to create the IDPs in Keycloak, you just go straight to the cluster, log in, and set up the IDPs. Here is just to make it simple for you. We tell you, okay, use this as your redirect URIs. We give you the steps, where to go, where to log in, what to do, to make it super simple and fast to configure. Okay, so that way you don't have to break your heads. Okay, very good. I'll come back, and we also do a test at the end to make sure that this configuration works. And once you've done it, you can basically go back to branding and you'll see single SSO. You'll see the option here. Let's say you configured Google, you see Google here, and you'll be able to decide whether you want it as an horizontal shape button, or is it a circle that you like. You would have this option of it there. Okay, it's that simple. If you have more IDPs, you put them and then you can set it up. You can set them up here. The next thing are recipes. Again, at this time of recording, we haven't published the recipes yet, but this will be coming in the future. It's ways to make sure that you configure your realm for specific, very specific configurations that usually can take a lot of time, or you don't know where to look at, and we'll just put them here. You just click a few buttons and boom, we set it up for you. Okay, that's what we want to do. We want to make things simple. That's the goal of Skycloak. Make the use of Keycloak very simple, because we believe Keycloak is one of the best identity and access management provider out there. And if you can use it, you can leverage it to make your platform better, go for it. So now settings. Under settings, it's pretty straightforward. What you have access here is you can manage your team. Here there's myself, I'm the workspace owner. When you invite a member, you can give them a specific role. You can give them admin, you can give them viewer. They can be also workspace billing roles. So this is just to see the invoices. It's up to you, depending on what you're doing inside your company, you can do that. On the billing, you can select your particular plan you can subscribe to. If you're on the enterprise, you have to contact us, of course, if you need to change the plan. If you want to go to enterprise, contact us as well. We also make available some add-ons if you need to select and use. All right. Of course, what are you seeing here at the time of recording this video? This is end of September, so end of September 2025. So be aware that these may change. Okay. Usage and limits. Okay, what are you using in your particular workspace? And we'll let you know what's happening. Security, you could set up MFA. You can also set up SSO. We have some provider and custom provider here for you. We tell you how to set it up, how to provide the metadata, and make the connection. Okay, pretty straightforward. Audit logs, it's not yet ready. It's coming, but it's in the making. So some features that are ongoing on our side are not shown here. I will not mention them, but they'll have their own videos. At least this should give you a grasp of what Skycloak is and how it can help you manage the identity, the identity of, let's say, your customers, your users, or even your internal employees, and whatever. Okay, So here I didn't show it, but this is the personal section of the settings. You have a workspace section, you have a personal section. The personal section is for your account. You can delete your account, you can update the MFA, and you have some privacy configuration here. If you don't want to share some data, you can disable them. Okay, so usually it's for tracking errors, and if you need export of your data, let us know. All right, so in 40 minutes nutshell, this was Skycloak. Okay, so that's a demo, a grasp of what you can do with Skycloak. And of course, once you have a Keycloak cluster running, you can basically use all the features of Keycloak. We do not limit the features, so you can do anything. What you're seeing on Skycloak is just quick ways to do things that we believe is very valuable and very straightforward, so you don't have to break your heads doing them in Keycloak. But once you set up Keycloak, everything should be running smoothly and you should be good to go. All right. You know what they usually say at the end of every video: like and subscribe, and share that if you have people that needs management of Keycloak and outside their own company or outside their laptop. Okay, that's what we do in Skycloak. Just reach out and we'll help you out. All right. Thank you for watching this, and see you another time.